Hi, welcome to the Manufacturing Engineering Technology Welding and Robotics virtual tour. My name is Joe Barnes, and I will be your guide on this journey. Hi, my name is Joe Barnes. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for stopping into the virtual tour and program presentation for the Manufacturing Engineering Technology Welding and Robotics program at Conestoga College. It is one of several welding programs that you'll learn a little bit about today, with the focus being on the manufacturing, welding, and robotics. My name is Joe Barnes. I am the program coordinator and also a faculty member here within this cluster of programs. Throughout this short presentation, we're going to talk about the various aspects of Conestoga College and its involvement in the welding industry, as well as give you, hopefully, some information to help you make the choice to join us at Conestoga College. Let me take a minute to introduce myself. I am a graduate of the Conestoga College 3-year engineering technology program, as it was back in 2001. Since then, I've spent time in various roles in the industry, including quality assurance, technical sales, and automation management. These roles have provided me with an opportunity to learn, as well as impart some of this knowledge on students as they come through our doors. I am one of many faculty members in this program that have real-world tangible experience in the welding field. We have expertise in fabrication technologies, engineering welding technologies, robotics, and inspection. You're in good hands choosing Conestoga College for your welding program needs. With just having a couple of minutes to talk about various highlights that the Manufacturing, Welding, and Robotics program offers, we do see various career opportunities across different market segments, including power generation, oil and gas, nuclear, automotive, and heavy equipment manufacturing. These programs are set up to fill a need in industry across Canada and even into the United States. Approximately 50% of your time will be spent in the shops at Conestoga College, learning the hands-on trade from skills development in the first year right through to experimentation and documentation of welding procedures in second and third year, and working with more advanced processes, which we'll touch on a little bit later on. During your time here in this program, the second and third year, you're going to focus a little bit more on the automation of welding processes, including a heavy emphasis on robotic automation. This program does offer an optional co-op term, which begins at the end of second year and will take place over 16 months consecutively. These co-op opportunities allow students to explore various aspects in multiple different companies in order to get a feel for what the student would like to do when they're finished. We'll touch on the virtual tour later on, but I must say Conestoga College's welding facilities are second to none in the welding training industry. I'm going to take a minute just to explain a little bit about the rest of the programs in welding that we offer at Conestoga College. As you can see on this image here, all of our welding programs offered at the Cambridge campus have a common first year. That common first year would include 50% of your time in the shop learning the hands-on skills development of various welding processes. At the end of that first year, students have an opportunity to either graduate with a welding technique certificate, it's a 1-year certificate, or they can elect to continue on into the 3-year technology programs, whether it be welding and robotics or inspection, or into one of the 2-year technician programs, welding technician and robotics, or welding and fabrication technician. After that first year is when students have an opportunity to make that switch. It's a very common practice, and one of the reasons why we've allowed for this type of laddering and having a common first year. The only exception I will say is that first year, the 2 green programs here, welding and robotics and welding inspection, have a little bit more of an engineering level math requirement. That math is required to propel them into the second and third years of that program. Students that have elected to start in either of the technician programs or the techniques program will have what we call a trade calculations math. That does not exclude them from participating in the second year of the engineering level or engineering technology programs. All they would need to do is maintain a 70% average in that first year math, in the two first year math courses, in order to be accepted into the engineering technology programs. We see students every year transfer from the techniques or fabrication technician into the 3-year technology programs, and vice versa. We have students that decide what they originally thought would be a good career path for them in the engineering technology programs, decided to transfer into the fabrication technician, for example, as they really fell in love with working with their hands and building things out of metal. Again, a core component of that first year, about 50% of your time, will be in the skills development lab, which we'll show you a little bit later on, learning all those hands-on skills needed to become a welder. With the way the technology has changed over the last several years and the addition of more advanced softwares to help with the learning process, Conestoga has introduced a bring your own device requirement for most programs. The program that we're talking about today is no exception. As you can imagine, there are a variety of different options available for computers. We're essentially specifying that a laptop be the minimum requirement for each student as they enter these programs. Given the types of software that we do use, whether it be AutoCAD or SolidWorks or offline virtual robotic programming software, the requirement for the device needs to be such that it can run all of these different things. Again, students will have access to these tools for download or virtually tapping into the servers at Conestoga College in order to run those software platforms that we're looking for. As you can see here on this slide, what we're basically asking students to do is buy the ultimate bring your own device as recommended. Again, the processing power and graphics cards required in order to run the software in these engineering level programs is required to ensure that the students don't run into any problems. The college website does identify that Apple products might be okay. I'm going to suggest that they are not. We do run into interface issues with the software, and the college is set up predominantly to support Windows types machines. That doesn't mean that Apple won't work, but there may be additional issues or problems that the students will run into running an Apple product for this. If you have any questions about the requirements or are unsure, you can take this information. It's also available on the website to any of the computer supply stores, and they'll be able to help you out. The next few slides, I will walk you through a virtual tour of the Cambridge campus and some of the key features, particularly the welding facilities that we have here. These links are available on the website and can be viewed at any time, so don't worry if I go a little bit too fast. We're going to focus today on the welding shop, the advanced welding lab, and the robotic welding lab. This is the main atrium of the Cambridge campus, the School of Engineering and Trades. As you can see, it's a pretty wide open space. The Conestoga Students Incorporated is located in this area as well. And it also adds highway through to the rest of the building, whether it be going up to the second or third levels. Most of the shops are located on the first floor. The Cambridge campus also has its own library space. This library space is used by students quite often for quiet study. We have our own cafeteria. The cave is an area run by Students Incorporated and is a gathering place. Student Services Hub, also for students, run by Conestoga Students Inc. An example of one of the lecture halls that we have. A quiet open space for students to work, either in groups or individually. And another one of our larger lecture halls. These lecture halls are typically not used by the welding students. We have larger programs that need the space facility. I mention this because most of our class sizes are going to be capped at no more than 40 students. These two lecture halls I showed you just now hold upwards of 60 to 100. Next up on our virtual tour is the Welding and Fabrication Lab. As mentioned, that first year of the program is going to spend a lot of time in the welding skills development area. Conestoga has upwards of 45 booths, each outfitted with a variety of different welding processes. Each booth is capable of performing the same tasks, but we do have a variety of different manufacturers represented to give students the opportunity to learn on more than just one device or one power source. In the fabrication area, students have the opportunity to work with different various fabrication machine tools and operations, as well as manually fitting and laying out, developing their skills in the second semester. This next stop on the tour kind of highlights the cutting skills area. Again, each booth that we have of the 45 all have the ability to provide oxy-fuel cutting and brazing operations, as well as the welding processes, as I mentioned earlier. Included in the virtual tour is the fabrication shop. This fabrication shop includes a variety of different machines that students will have hands-on experience in operating, from manual brake presses to a variety of different plate shears offered. There's a small one and a very large one, to a CNC operated brake press and a CNC cutting table using the plasma arc cutting process. The Welding Technology Lab includes a variety of different manufacturers' welding processes, with the heavy focus on non-traditional welding outputs. This would include things like pulse welding, that's CMT from Fronius. As you can see, the equipment in here is more varied, and the learning space is a little bit more modular to allow students to explore a variety of different processes through their studies. It includes operations like a submerged arc welding system, as well as two spot welding systems you see here. Our next stop is the Welding Robotics Lab. This is an area in the second year of the program where students will begin to learn how to program robots using a teach pendant. There's also introduction to offline robotic programming, which we'll show you in a second. This lab has a total of 6 welding robots in it, and again, dedicated to our space. As you see in the animation below, a robot has been programmed in the virtual environment by bringing a 3D model of the part into that world. That information can then be downloaded and transferred into a robot for actual operation and welding to occur. Our third year of the program, students are provided an opportunity to work on an advanced technology project of their own choosing. The image on the right shows a project that some students did in additive manufacturing, basically 3D printing with metal. Their final product was a mug made out of stainless steel. Again, pretty technically advanced for programming being completed on a teach pendant rather than in the virtual world. We take a look at the welding inspection side of things. Again, regardless of which engineering program you're in, robotics or inspection, every student will get an opportunity to work with the inspection tools available to us at Conestoga College. This image, we have a couple of students working with microscopes to take a look at the microstructure of a welded sample. On the right-hand side, we have students working to try to identify defects in welds below the surface, not available or not visually represented by the naked eye. So what does all this mean? At the end of your 3 years at Conestoga College, in the Manufacturing Engineering, Technology, Welding and Robotics program, the job opportunities are quite vast. A majority of our students find work in the fields of manufacturing engineering management, automation systems integration, production planning, industrial process engineering, and a variety of other avenues. Things like procedure development for quality control systems, things like that. We find that these students are very successful in gaining employment and moving up with the base knowledge that we've provided here at Conestoga College. Now my favorite part. Quite often we get the same questions over and over again when we hold information sessions. So I'd like to try and give you some information up front here in conjunction with the information I previously provided. One of the biggest questions we get is, can I switch into another welding program from this one? Well, as I mentioned on one of the previous slides, absolutely. Provided that the course is not full when you want to make that change and you have sufficient grades to allow you to make that change, absolutely. Again, Conestoga offers 5 standard programs available in the welding cluster at the Cambridge campus. How much welding will I get to learn? Well, that's a great question. That first year of the program, you're going to spend about 50% of your time in both semesters, 1 and 2, in the skills development lab. Again, that's all skills development, basic welding skills in the various different processes to set you up for the second and third year of the program. Once we branch into the second and third year of the program, it's less of a focus on how to do the welding and more of a focus on, okay, what happens when we're welding? So we start to transition from traditional motor skills exercises from first year into more theoretical and experimentation-based learning in the advanced processes lab in the back of the shop. At the same time, we start looking at getting hands-on with whether it be inspection or robotic programming as well. Next question, are there any other credentials I need once I'm finished this program? The answer to that one is not really. There is opportunities for students to branch off, whether it be into the inspection field, where there would be some additional requirements needed in order to become an inspector. On the robotics side, there is not really much in terms of industry credentials other than experience and gaining that experience through jobs or through employment. Right? Another frequently asked question is, will I get my welding tickets? Conestoga College is a certified test center with the Canadian Welding Bureau, and in that first year of the program, students are offered the opportunity to have the Bureau come in and witness their test so that they can gain their welding certificates. Those certificates are issued by the Bureau, not Conestoga College, and the cost for those is not included in the tuition. However, multiple times throughout the year, the Bureau is invited to come in and students can sign up and elect to try to gain or challenge the testing to gain those tickets. The last question I'll kind of touch base on here is, how much will a graduate earn when they have completed the program? That's a bit of a tougher question. I can tell you from experience over the last 8-9 years that I've been with the college that range varies greatly depending on the company that the student gets employed by and the competition for those jobs as we see it. We've had students earn as much as $70,000 a year upon completion. That's the start. And I would say the typical starting would be anywhere between $45,000 and $50,000 a year to start. We do see students start to increase their earning potential once they get 2, 3, 4 years out of college. For any more or additional information on this manufacturing, engineering, technology, welding, and robotics program, please check out the website. And again, my contact information is available for students or parents if they have any questions. I'd like to thank you again for taking the time to join us on this little virtual tour here. I hope I've been able to answer a majority of your questions that you had. If anything else comes up, because I know there was a lot of information in this video, please don't hesitate to send me an email. My information will be on the next slide. By all means, be happy to start a conversation and hopefully get you to join our team here at Conestoga College.